Welcome to Beyond You, the podcast where we dive deep into healing, rediscovery, and the building the life you truly deserve. I'm Samantha, your host and guide on this journey. If you're ready to move past toxic relationships, reconnect with your true self, and create authentic connections, you're in the right place. We'll be having real conversations, sharing practical tips, and offering the kind of support that helps you just not survive, but thrive. Each week, we're unpacking how to heal from the past, rediscover who you are, and building a future that feels like you. So whether you're just starting your healing journey or have been on the path for a while, let's do this together. Let's get started. Hey friends, today we're talking about a topic that I know many of you can relate to when talking about closure. I talked about this on TikTok about a couple weeks ago, and I thought it really resonated because a lot of times when we stopped going into or start ending in relationships with friends, with partners, with different people, a lot of times we feel like we need closure about the situation. And let's be real, when a relationship ends, closure is the thing that we crave most. We want to understand why it ended, what went wrong, and maybe even hear an apology that validates our pain. But here's the hard truth when it comes to that. Waiting for closure from someone else can keep you stuck in a cycle of hurt and confusion. So the good news, you don't need someone else to give you closure. Closure is something you create for yourself. And today we're going to talk about how to do just that. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, because we're going to go deep into it. So let's start by unpacking why closure feels so important. Closure can give us a sense of finality, right? So it's like tying up loose ends so we can move forward. And when we don't get it, it feels like the door is still open, even if we know deep down that it's not. So here's the big question. Why do we need closure so badly? At its core, closure is about control, right? And I know it's sometimes hard to hear, but it is. Because when something ends, whether it's a relationship or friendship or even a chapter of our lives, we want to wrap it up neatly, you know what I'm saying? Like put a bow on it and file it away so we can, correctly move on as we see fit. But the reality is, life doesn't always work out like that. Like, people ghost us, right? And when ghosting, a lot of times it's about their communication, it's nothing to do with you. Relationships end without explanations. Apologies were owed don't show up. And when that happens, it leaves us in this limbo of why? What did I do wrong? And how could they? And I tell you, I've been there. I remember replaying conversations in my head over and over, trying to decode every word, every action, that overthinking that a lot of us do. I know I do it. Trying to make sense of something that honestly didn't make sense. Right? And my number one motto here at Moving Beyond You podcast, is we do not make sense out of nonsense. Right? If anything that has your brain feeling confused and just having tilt in your head, acting like something's happened, we do not try to make sense of it at all. Okay? But then the more I replayed it, the more stuck I felt. But here's what I learned. The need for closure isn't just about getting answers. It's about seeking validation. Right? We want someone else to acknowledge our pain, to make us feel seen and heard. But when we rely on someone else to give us that validation, we give away our power. And you can tell because at the end of the conversation, look at how you're left feeling. You don't feel any better by letting the person that hurt you about your pain. You cannot heal from the person that hurt you. So here's just a tough love moment I want to share here. You don't need someone else to validate your experience for it to be real. You don't need their apology to move forward. Closure isn't something someone else gives you. It's something you decide to create for yourself. You don't need every question answered to find peace. And sometimes the closure we're waiting for, like we talked about, it doesn't come. So maybe the other person isn't willing to give it to us. Or maybe the answers they give don't actually help us heal. Closure isn't about them. It's about us. It's about deciding that we don't need someone else's permission to move forward. That decision, it's the real closure. When I spent months on trying to figure out how to closure, and sometimes talking with my ex and just doing those different things, some months ago, a lot of times I just spent a while just waiting for the conversation where it would feel better, that would finally explain everything, apologize. And even when that did happen, it didn't make it better. We have to be able to sit with the grief, or it's going to show up somewhere along the way. Right? And so what I want you to do is to start shifting your focus on what you can control. Okay? So here's a question to ask yourself. What's keeping you stuck right now? Is it the unanswered question, the apology you didn't get, or the hope that they'll come back and make things right? Now ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped waiting? What if I put that energy into myself instead of them? When you shift your focus from what you can't control, their actions, their words, to what you can control, your own healing, you can start taking back your power. Letting go of the need for closure is one of the most freeing things that you can do. But let's be real, it's also one of the hardest. It requires you to accept that you may never get the apology, explanation, or the clarity you're seeking. And that can be a hard truth to just come with, or just come to terms with. But when you let go of the need for closure, you're not letting go of your pain or your experience. You're letting go of the power it holds over you as well. So I want you to think of closure like holding onto a rope, right? Like that's tied to a heavy object. The longer you hold on, the more it drags you down. Letting go of the rope doesn't mean the object disappears. It just means you're no longer carrying its weight. And I remember the moment I realized I wasn't going to get closure from someone who hurt me. And when someone who hurt you deeply, it's not going to happen. I had waited and hoped for months, thinking if I just held a little bit longer, they'd come around. But when I finally let go of that expectation, it felt like I could breathe again, right? When you're allowed to put the power back into you, when you know you're not going to be with the person, you know you're not going to go back. It's really one of the things of you're trying to avoid everything you can to avoid having this feeling. And I had a client like this the other day who is in a relationship, and the person had affairs that she found out about, but it's part of it's like because of the experience and the love that was there, she kept holding on. And a lot of us do this, so she's not alone in this. But you understand that, yes, I get and that you had this feeling. This person gave this validation that you've been wanting for so long, but also know it's also the one thing that's causing you pain. And understand, when being overly positive is a beautiful thing, but we're just taking bits and pieces that we like about the person and leaving the rest. You have to take someone from the whole. You just can't pick and choose what you like and just leave the rest that you don't want, right? So no, it doesn't erase the pain, but a lot of times when you allow yourself to put in your own terms, it gives you the space to heal and start that process. So sometimes closure isn't just a story we tell ourselves to delay the hard work of healing. So know that when you're telling this story, you tell yourself that if I just had this or someone just explained it right, it tends not to happen. It's about allowing yourself to face the feelings, which I know can be very challenging at times. So if closure isn't something someone else can give you, it's one of those things of how do you create it for yourself? So I want to go deeper into some practical steps to help you let go and find peace on your own terms. So this isn't just about moving on, it's about honoring your experience, reclaiming your power, and creating space for your healing. Okay? And I'm so excited because I'm in the process of writing these healing lessons in the Beyond You Collective that's open today. So please feel free to join us in just that space. It's a safe space for just professional women of color to just be able to be yourself. I have things to really start your day, so I'm really excited about this. But what I want you to do, the first step to creating closure is giving yourself permission to feel. And I know we've been talking about this time and time again. A lot of times, so often we judge ourselves for our emotions, right? We're telling ourselves, I should be over this by now, or why does this still hurt so much? Healing doesn't work on a timeline, and I know we wish it did. I sometimes really think that we feel like it should be just a linear timeline that keeps going up, and that doesn't work that way. Your emotions aren't wrong. It's information for you to see, okay, what I want to do with this, right? The reason why you're feeling the pain is because you cared about someone really deeply, and that's beautiful, what your feeling of love. But understand that the emotion is information on what you've been through, okay? So I want you to write it out, and I know a lot of times journaling can be a lot, but I need you to be able to write down the feeling, not just complaining or rant, but just getting out the things out of you, out of your mind onto paper. So write it out. Start a journal entry with right now I feel, and then go, right? Go whatever. Let the words flow. Don't filter or censor yourself. Just get it all out. Talk it out. Right? If journaling isn't your thing, so I get it. I know sometimes it can feel like a chore than actually wanting to do it. Find someone you can trust who can listen without judgment, whether it's your trusted friend, whether it's your therapist, whether you just, you talk to me as well and want to just our sessions or within the Beyond You Collective, sometimes just saying the words out loud is enough to help you process them. Move through it. If emotions feel too big to sit with, try movement. Go for a walk, a dance, or do something physical to release the tension in your body. You don't have to justify your feelings to anyone, okay? Not even yourself. And a lot of times we try to figure it out, and I know it's something we definitely lead with curiosity when it comes to our emotions, but sometimes we don't know what it is. Sometimes we just feel the feeling, we know it's here, we know it's bothering us, and so know that you do not have to justify your feelings to anyone. So remember, not even yourself. So they're valid simply because they exist, right? Feelings are valid just simply because they're there. Okay. And so next, number 2, I want you to rewrite the story you're telling yourself. Okay. So one of the biggest reasons we get stuck in the need for closure is the story we're telling ourselves about the situation. Maybe it's, if I just knew why they left, I'd feel better. Or if they apologize, I could finally move on. Those stories keep us waiting for something that may never come. Rewriting your story is about taking back control and deciding what you want the narrative to be. And here's how to start. Write down the story you've been telling yourself about the situation. Be honest, okay? What are the if onlys and what ifs that keep replaying in your mind? Ask yourself, what part of this story is keeping me stuck? Then rewrite it. Shift the focus from the other person's actions to your own growth. And if you are having trouble, let me know down in the comments, and I can be able to help to kind of see how we can create the story for you as well. But then once you rewrite it and you shift your focus, I'm going to give you some examples, okay? So instead of they never apologize, so I'll never feel better, how about we try, I didn't get the apology, but I can still choose to release the pain and move forward. You see how I did there? Like just kind of switched it up. So just within the Beyond You Collective, and really work on the self-talk rampages, right? And the self-talk rampages it's like your inner critic. A lot of times we're so used to having our negative part of our brain just keep talking to us. A self-talk rampage, it tries to switch that. So if you're listening for 21 days, my rampage is over in the Beyond You Collective, you're going to start to notice that your mindset is going to start shifting, right? And automatically going to not just the positive, the things that can resonate with you when we just how we talk to ourselves really matter. So there's some things that you can try. So I don't need their explanation to know my worth, or my pain is real, but so is my ability to heal. Like really pick which ones resonate with you for today and be able to take it with you. I am choosing to close this chapter, not because of them, but because of me. So every time you write this story, you're taking a step closer to reclaiming your peace. And that's all I want for you. So focus on your healing, not their actions. And I know this is hard because when I tell you, when going through that breakup situation, and even when past friendship breakups, which hurt even deeper, let's be real, closure doesn't come from the other person doing the right thing, right? It comes from you deciding that their actions no longer define your healing. So I want you to ask yourself, what would moving forward look like for me? What do I need to do to feel whole again? Focusing on your healing might look like setting boundaries with the person or situation, right? I know for me, I had to make sure I did no contact. The times where they did want to talk, I could not. I know how emotionally draining it was, so I could not do that. Prioritizing self-care practices that make you feel grounded and supported is another one. Right? Reconnecting with the things that bring you joy, whether that's a hobby, spending time with friends, or simply being in nature, photography, whatever it is for you, having that. So I want you to really reflect, what's one small step you can take today to honor your healing? Sometimes we need to be able to have those rituals for letting go. And so step 4 is a ritual for letting go for yourself. Sometimes we might need a physical or symbolic act to help us release the weight of the situation. Rituals can be a powerful tools for closure because they create a sense of finality that allows you to move forward. So here are a few ideas. Number 1, I want you to write a letter you'll never send. Okay, never send. Write a letter to the person or situation that hurt you. Pour everything into it, okay? So your pain, your anger, your hopes, your goodbyes, then destroy it. Destroy. Like, do not send it to this person. Rip it up, burn it safely, or throw it away as a symbolic act of release. create a letting go playlist. Music has a way of capturing our emotions. Create a playlist that starts with songs that reflect your pain or anger, and gradually shift to songs that feel empowering and hopeful. Like, really let this be the list that you go to. It could be back in just whether 90s songs or different things that resonate with you, whether it's in the 80s for some people, whatever that resonates, or even the 2000s if that's you. Allow yourself that. Grounding meditation, right? Close your eyes and imagine yourself holding a heavy object that represents your need for closure, and visualize yourself setting it down and walking away feeling lighter with every step. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means freeing yourself from the weight of what's holding you back. So I want you to now, in step 5, celebrate your own resilience. I want you to remember to celebrate how far you come. Okay, creating closure for yourself is hard work, and every step forward is worth acknowledging. So there are some things I want you to ask yourself on this journey when celebrating yourself and your resilience. What have I learned about myself through this process? And this is going to take a while to get to. So if you want to be able to write these questions down, or maybe just save this, download this for you to have for later when the times where you're at a place to be able to really process this, you can do that as well. So what strengths have I discovered that I didn't know I had? And what am I proud of myself for today? Even if it's just I woke up and chose to keep going, that's enough. Like, every small act of resilience adds up to something bigger. I am stronger than the pain I've endured. These are things that kind of helps, like affirmations that you can be able to take with, that also resonate with you when it comes to closure. I'm allowed to heal on my own terms, and this chapter does not define me. I do. So I get on when it comes to closure and what we just kind of put ourselves through at times. And lastly, I want to be able to remind you that closure is a choice, not a gift. Closure isn't something someone else gives you. It's a decision you make to let go and move forward, even if the answers never come. So it's not about forgetting or pretending it didn't happen. It's about deciding that your peace is more important than their explanation. And you're allowed to make that choice for yourself. Letting go of the need for closure isn't about ignoring your pain or pretending it didn't happen. It's about deciding that your healing is more important than the answers you'll ever get. So if you're holding on to the hope of closure right now, ask yourself, what would it look like to let this go just a little bit? We're not asking for a lot, just a little. What do I need to do to start reclaiming my peace? You don't need them to say sorry. You don't need every question answered. You are allowed to move forward without their permission. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. I felt like that a lot of times we do not talk about on how our need for closure just really shows up when we're going in a new chapter, and especially when it comes for a past self to our kind of new self we're coming into or becoming. It's like this need for closure a lot of times that we feel like we need to do, and your closure is your choice to move forward. It's not necessarily there has to be a whole meeting about it. And so if you're ready to dive deeper into this type of work in your healing journey, the Beyond You Collective is officially open. I'm so excited. So this month we're offering a founding members rate of just $37 a month. It would only be in the month of January 2025 to start off, and each month I'm going to be putting more and more information in there, so it will not be this, but I definitely want to, at least for my community here starting out, to have this for you guys. This is just really means a lot to me. So inside you'll find tools like self-talk rampages, guided challenges, and community that's here to support you every step of the way. So let's create closure together on your terms. Okay, so here's what I hope you take from today. Closure isn't about them, it's about you. You have the power to create closure within yourself. Moving forward is a choice you can make even without all the answers. You want more tips help you navigate healing, boundaries, personal growth? Please join my VIP list for my newsletter. I send tips out every Wednesday to help take with you, as you say on Wednesday on the podcast as well. I want to be able to give this information that you have, but if you want the deeper, more close community, Beyond You Collective is where you should definitely go, and you can sign up down below. So follow Beyond You and share this episode with someone who's ready to stop waiting for closure and start moving forward. Thank you for spending time with me today on Beyond You podcast. Next week, I'm still kind of deciding what we want to talk about, but I know it's going to be good. So make sure that you follow and make sure that you kind of just subscribe and like this so other people can be able to see it as well, right? I want to be able to really be there for you. And if you have any questions or things that you want me to talk about, please let me know down below. Know that you do not want to miss any episode. But until then, take care of yourself. You're worth it.